Assalamu alaikum guys, welcome back to part 3 of this video where I'm talking to you guys about kids, youngsters, sports, training, food, discipline, etc. So part 1 I spoke to you guys about food, okay, the importance of food, healthy eating environment, what you guys as a parent can do, okay, and install habits into your kids by having a good healthy environment in your house as well, okay, food environment. Part 2 I spoke to you guys about training, okay, what age should a child start boxing, how often should a child train, okay, and also how to can I discipline your child, okay, and I spoke to you about how I can do it in my boxing classes, but the importance of you guys doing it as well throughout the rest of the week as well. So part 3, okay, so part 3, the questions were regarding today's generation, okay, the importance of kids doing sports, okay, how will this help them when they're older, and then also ways of having a healthy mindset for children, okay. So these 3 kind of questions were kind of given to me, and I thought to myself, well, it's touching on similar topics, so let's bunch these together and put a video on this as well then. So I'm going to dive straight into the first question which was given to me, and it is the importance of kids, meaning today's generation, doing sports, okay. Now it's a very good question, a very good topic as well, okay. One thing off the bat I'm going to say is that today's generation are not as active as the generation previously, and I say that because my parents of the children who come to my classes, they always talk to me about my kid not doing much at home. They sit down on the iPads because they've got access to technology, okay? That's one thing. Number 2 I've noticed is that parents themselves don't help. They don't allow their children out. Now, you know, of course they're scared of the environment, the safety, etc. But supervised, you can take them out, can't you? When they're in the playground, in the street, keeping an eye on them, letting them do something, okay? So you can let them out, okay? And there has to be some, they have to go out and learn some skills on their own as well, okay? But I'll touch on that a bit later on. So it's important that it's important for today's generation because I don't think they are as active as they were, in the 80s, 90s, and even before. Does that make sense? And you can see that in the area that you live in. I live in Shelton, and I can see that because the kids aren't as active as they once were. Okay, so why is it important kids doing sports? Okay, now the obvious things are things like it's important to get them fit and healthy. Okay, it's important to keep them fit and healthy. It's important for them to stay away from illnesses and diseases like obesity, which is massive at the moment, and within in my community, the Asian and the Muslim community, obesity is a big thing and always has been and always affects people, and kids are getting bigger because of the lack of activity that they're doing. So, having an unhealthy lifestyle, having obesity, they will bring a lot of issues, medical issues, physical issues, social issues, emotional problems, etc. So all this, can be combated if you get your kids into sports, okay? They will be training, they'll be running around, okay? They'll be trained their aerobic capacity, their heart will pump faster and harder and stronger, okay? So that means that the blood will pump throughout the body and circulation will be better as well. Their bones will be getting stronger, their muscles will be getting stronger, their ligaments, their joints, their tendons, all these things will get stronger, okay? They will become faster, okay? So all that is in benefit for your child, okay? While they're training their physical body, their mind will get stronger and sharper as well, okay? You'll be able to pump a lot more oxygen through your body up into your mind. So when they're in school, it can help them, they will be more clear in the head when they're learning. Do you understand that? So it's important to get them active, get them into sports, okay? Why sports? Okay, let's talk about that. So when your child goes to a sport club, let's say if he goes into football and if he goes into boxing, how is that benefiting them? So what are they learning when they go to sports, okay? Well, when they go in there, they are building a routine, okay? If they think about football, they will train once or twice a week, and then they'll have a football match on the weekend. So that's 3 sessions, okay? Boxing clubs, they will be going to them for 3 days a week as well, okay, 2 to 3 days a week as well. So they're building that routine, okay, they're getting ready to go football, they're getting their stuff ready. They know that when it comes to a Tuesday, they're in football practice. When it comes to Sunday, they're in a football game. Okay, so that builds routine into them. So when you've got activities already set in the week, then the rest of the week you can plan accordingly as well. Okay, well, I know I'm playing football on Tuesday and Sunday. What can I do on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, for example, Saturday? Okay, so it builds that routine. At the same time, it builds that discipline in them as well. So when they go into these clubs, they know that they've got to do certain things. So if I give an example of my boxing, they'll come to my boxing, they know they've got to do a warm-up, they do a bit of exercise, we'll learn some boxing skill, they'll put it into practice with their partner, they'll do a bit of bag work, and they'll do sparring, okay? So they know they're going to be doing this. So it builds that discipline in them, keeping them hands up when it comes to their boxing guard, okay? Making sure that they punch correctly. I'll get them standing there, making sure that they punch correctly when and build that technique into them. So they're building that discipline, okay, but also discipline in the way where they build that routine, they're doing things, they're active, and they'll know what they're doing, and that'll help them going on in further life as well, okay. Another thing that they're doing is they're building character. When they're at these clubs, when they're out and about, they're building character, okay, by learning from other people, learning from other kids, learning from coaches, building them friendships, building that the social side of things, okay, and then they're getting tested and they're being challenged, okay. Now you've got to make sure that they are being tested and challenged. Now let me give you an example of football. Okay, how can they be challenged in football? Well, football is an outdoor activity. When it comes to winter in England, there's a lot of rain, it's cold, okay. If your kid's turning up and playing in that condition, they've been tested, their mettle has been tested. That's challenging them, that's building that character, okay. Are they going to give up? Are they going to give up and say, no, they don't want to go? Are they going to make excuses? Okay? This is where you come in and encourage them to go. Okay? And while they're doing that, if they can play in rain and cold weathers, then they will play throughout the whole year. Does that make sense? And that will build that character, build that strong will, and they will give that confidence that they can do something. Okay? But if your kid gives up, then that's the trait that they're learning. That if things get tough, I'll just give up, forget it, just move on. But you don't want that as a parent. You don't want your kid to give up. If the tough gets going, you're going to get going. Simple as that. You want your kid to go for it. Do you understand? In a boxing ring, if the sparring, if the fight gets harder, you want your kid to go harder. You don't want your kid to give up. We can't have kids giving up. If you have kids giving up, then the generation will be affected, and we won't have them strong leaders that we need in the future. Okay? Now, what kind of things are going to improve for themselves? Okay, so when they're doing the sports and activities, they're improving, obviously, their fitness, the speed, their power, endurance, etc. But they're also improving things like hand-eye coordination, okay? Their motor skills are improving, okay? Their balance is improving. They're learning technique, things like running, etc. Now, I'll give you an example. Last summer, I did a boot camp. And I did an outdoor boot camp for youngsters in the area, and purposely outdoor to get them out in the climate, in the elements to train, okay? When I did this boot camp, I got the kids running, simple exercise, sprinting. And I was watching them, and I noticed a lot of kids did not know how to run. Their balance was all over the place. Their legs and arms were going everywhere. They were falling forward, slipping, etc. And then those that won the race, those that did the sprinting and got to the end, they're the ones you can tell have been doing something throughout the years, throughout the week, and they were like running good, had that energy. Do you understand? But there's a lot of kids I noticed, they had a lot of issues when it comes to running. Then when I did some exercises, I noticed a lot of coordination problems. A lot of the kids could not send their left arm that way while sending their right leg that way. They couldn't do that. What was happening was their left arm was going there, the left leg was going there. Do you understand? But when you explain that to them, they weren't grasping it. And balance was another issue. A big issue. Now notice, nowadays kids struggle with these simple things. Okay? To me it's simple, but to them it's hard. But they need to have good balance, whatever they're doing. Okay? Have good balance, have a good hand-eye coordination. If they need to catch something, catch it. Okay? And notice that these kids nowadays are struggling to that. And when you put them into sports, These are the things that they will improve on, and that'll better their life going forward. Having good balance, you're bloody nearly just walking. Do you understand? Some kids are walking to one side. So you need these skills going forward, okay? And then when you think about it as a kid, when they're playing and they're getting tired, what does that mean? When they come home, they're going to have a good night's sleep. So get them tired, burn that energy off, and let them have a good night's sleep as well, okay? A lot of the kids nowadays, especially in the teenagers, they're sleeping very late. Why? They're not very active in the daytime. They're not burning their energy off. Therefore, they've got a lot of energy just go on their phones, etc. And they go sleep 2, 3, 4 in the morning. And they've got this very bad routine. They sleep very late and they wake up very late. I had a parent saying to me that the child woke up 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I was shocked. I was like, 3 o'clock? You missed a bloody day? Do you understand? Now, kids do need a lot of sleep compared to adults, yes, but there has to be a routine. Get them into a routine, it will improve them. It will improve them and their ways, etc. So, how can their sports help you? Well, it'll help you physically, it'll help their mind, their mental well-being, it'll help them to deal with stress better. When they're playing football or boxing and they're enjoying themselves, they're releasing the endorphins, which is a feel-good hormone, so they will feel better about themselves as well. And at the same time, they are building character, okay? And this is down to having that social aspect to going out. They're building things like their determination skills. They're working on teamwork as well as working on their own as well. You know, so they're building, you know, good skills in their life. Okay, let's move on to the second question, which was how will this, what I just explained, help them when they get older? Okay, it's a good question. Now, when it comes to the physical skills and the strength that they're learning, they're improving, they're fit and healthy, this will go with them throughout their life. You need to be strong and healthy and fit for all your life, basically. You want to, you know, all your life to be fit and healthy, to stay away from problems like pains, aches, injuries, etc. Okay? Now, when you're fit and healthy, you can do things for longer. Okay? If you're fit and healthy, you can last longer. If you're fit and healthy, you can pick things up. You understand? Now, in your daily life, you will be doing this as an adult. You'll be doing DIY jobs, you'll be picking up shopping, etc., stuff like that. There's things that you need to be fit and strong and healthy for. Okay? Then there's transferable skills that they're going to be learning from the sports or the clubs or the activity that they're doing. Okay? The social skills. Okay, they're going to be learning. Them social skills, they can use them into colleges, schools, uni, into work, even in their relationships. Do you understand? Social skills is a big part of this. Okay. Nowadays, what I notice there are a lot of kids who struggle with their social skills. Okay. And one thing I noticed recently is some of the kids don't recognize the audience that they're speaking to. So they can't change or adapt their social skills to the audience. Okay? Now I know nowadays the language or terminology has changed from when I was a youngster, okay? But when I was a youngster, certain language changed for us, for the previous generation. So it happens each generation, that's fine, no problem. Okay? But you got to be able to know when you can put your what audience you're dealing with, okay, what kind of attitude you have towards them, what kind of language to use towards them, okay. Now, I notice a lot of the kids who come to my boxing, they will speak to me like as if they speak to one of their friends, okay. They will say to me things like, they use the word fam, yeah. So listen fam, okay, and I'm like, I beg your pardon, listen who? You don't address me like that. You understand? Now, I have a joke about it, but my point is clear. You don't address me as your coach as listen fam. Do you understand? Or if I asked the youngster the other day, I goes, right, you're coming in the middle, you're going to spar with this, you're going to do another round of sparring. And he said, calm. I goes, what do you mean calm? I goes, I was calm. So I make a joke about it, but the point is, you got to know your audience, okay? Now, I hung about on the streets a lot. We spoke with the friends, we had certain terminology that we would use. Between us, even swearing, for example, we would use it. But when it came to my parents or elders, I wouldn't use that. I knew I had to speak to them I had to show them respect, and I had to change up my language. Do you understand? When I was in school with teachers, same thing. When I was at work, same thing. You've got to know your audience and you've got to communicate to them in a good way. Now, another thing is, what I want to talk about is very important, is as a person gets older, if they're not active, if they're not doing any sports, okay, there's a thing called muscle wastage, okay? And that is that simple fact that your muscle will deteriorate, simple as that. If they're not being worked, fed properly, if they're not being challenged, then your muscle will just deteriorate, okay? And with that comes a lot of issues like joint pains, back pain. So a lot of people, a lot of friends my age or even older and stuff, or parents, they talk to me about having a lot of back problems, okay? And then if you look into what they're doing, then there's a few things, habits that they're doing. One is they're sitting down a lot. So a lot of people are sitting down on desks in a car, taxi jobs, for example. Then I ask them, are they training anything? No, they haven't trained, okay? So if you're not working your muscles, then how do you expect your muscles to carry you, carry you on? How do you expect that? So a lot of guys talk to me about bad backs, for example. When I ask them what do they train, they don't, simply. So if you look at their back, they're not training the back, upper back, middle back, lower back. They're not training their glutes, their bum. They're not training the back of their legs. So all that posterior chain, as it's called, it's not been trained. Then the core has not been trained. Then how, they are going to have back issues, hip issues, knee pains, okay? If your muscles not used or utilized, it will cause issues. So that's a very big, important thing. And if a person's into training, sports, etc., and know the value of that, they will know how active they are, and then they can carry that on. I've been doing sports for all my life, okay? At the age of 40 right now, if I take time off training, I feel them aches and pains, okay? So when I'm training, I'm better off. I'm active. My body's active. My body's ready. Do you understand? So it's important for a person to learn this when they're young so they can continue the benefits of this in long term as well. And while they're young, obviously, when they're in these sports and these activities, they're learning valuable lessons like warm-up, exercises, they're learning a skill, they're learning technique, they stay disciplined to stay fit and healthy, okay, throughout their life. And the other thing, that a massive point is that when your child is doing this, they're staying away from the bad environment as well, okay? If they're training 3 days a week, they're off the streets 3 days a week. When they finish that training session, they are knackered. When I used to train boxing and I'd finish boxing, I would be knackered. I don't want to go out. Okay? I will shower up, boom, eat, and I'm ready for bed. Okay? And then when I was getting older, I knew that what would affect my boxing. If I was getting into drugs, drink, it would affect my boxing. So I kind of stayed away from that. And another big part of me was my family and my religion, okay? That helped me to stay away from bad environment and my brothers, okay? But as a boxer, I knew that if I got into this, it would hinder my training and my sports. Not just boxing, I was big on football as well. So I knew it would affect football. Do you understand? So if your kid's active in training, okay, they will learn these lessons from their coaches, etc., the sport lessons, but also life lessons, and that will keep them away from the bad environment and hopefully keep them on the good path, away from drugs, drink, crime, etc. Okay?